Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our pre-match press conference to preview our game against Tottenham. We'll start off with Vinny from Sky.
David, first of all, obviously, congratulations to Jordan Pickford getting in the England squad, albeit expected for the World Cup. But how do you feel about the club's player of the season, James Garner, missing out on that squad as well?
Well, I'm disappointed for Jimmy, but I've got to say I'm not surprised, because I think our form in the last 5 or 6 weeks haven't encouraged MD to really go and focus on our players. I think when we were doing so well, Jimmy was a huge part of it, and I think your team, your players need to be informed to sort of attract the England manager to select you. So, we have to take a bit of the sort of disappointment along with Jimmy as well, that we've not been able to get him to the World Cup.
You obviously, though, still have that chance for a top half finish. So how are you feeling going into this final game about the season as a whole now?
Overall, I think we would all accept that we've had a pretty dramaless free season. We've done a lot of really good things. We're into the sort of the final months of the season, still being competitive for the top end rather than the bottom end. We've not got a relegation playoff game, or at the end of the season where we're having to win one of the games to stay up. Not get that situation. So lots of good things, but I think there's a sort of cloud hanging over me at the moment that I'm disappointed that we've not finished the last 6 games well enough or so, and not played well enough, or not got decisions which we could have gone a long way to changing things, because obviously we're only probably a couple of points out of going into the last game saying if we win, you'd be in a European spot. So when I just look back, our form, I'll always look at that first, and but a couple of decisions have certainly not helped us.
Aside from those decisions, when you talk about performances, what have you been able to pinpoint that has maybe senior players not getting up to the levels that we'd seen, even going back to say the Chelsea game when you got yourself into a real strong position?
Yeah, I don't think we played particularly bad in any of the games. I just think that sometimes goals change the way you feel, or you get a result, you think much better about it. When you don't get it, then you start to look at on the negative side. I don't think we've played that badly in the games. Just don't think we've been quite good enough to win them, and that's obviously shown in the results.
In terms of planning, though, for next season, can I just check on a few players? First of all,
Mykolenko. Can check, but I might not give you an answer.
I get used to that, yeah. But Mykolenko, anything close?
Yeah, I think we're very close to something with Miko. Yeah.
Garner Gueye, is it a straight year option on him, or is it a case of him having to make so many starts this season?
We'll make an announcement on that when we're ready to do so, yeah.
And I know Tyrique George, you said about budget, that obviously plays a part in whether he gets you take up the option on him. Anything clear?
Yeah, well, we've got 2 players on loan, been Tyrique and also Jack. So obviously at the moment they go back to their clubs, and we'll take it from there. And as the summer goes on, we'll decide what path we're going to take on both of them. And we like Tyrique, obviously we like Jack a lot, but we've not got an answer for you if you're going to throw me a Jack Grealish question in a minute or two as well. And I've told you we've enjoyed having Tyrique here. He's been an excellent boy, and his work rate and everything's been excellent, so we're happy with him.
Obviously, the weekend is about getting the job done for yourselves, but you're also part of a scenario that could keep your old club in the Premier League as well. So what thoughts have you got on that, given the time that you spent at West Ham? I take it you've possibly had a few phone calls this week.
Yeah, possibly. Look, I'd love to keep West Ham in the league if I can do. So, but it's more important that I get Everton that top half finish, and we try and get a few more £1 million because of our league places, which is so important as well. So if we can do that, I think sometimes you don't look, when you're in this position, you don't look at your league position until you're 5 or 6 years down. You look back and say, oh, finish 14th. Well, the truth is you should have maybe finished 10th or 9th or whatever you do. So we've got to try and finish as high as we possibly can. But yeah, I really do hope that West Ham stay up.
Just fun for me, I wondered if you'd been able to offer your congratulations to Mikel, given obviously your long-standing relationship with him, one of your former players, Premier League title.
No, I've not done it yet, because I know what it's like when you're in a situation where you win. You'll be inundated with 1 million messages, and trying to get reply to them is actually quite a strain at times. So I'm no doubt I'm going to catch him up in the next few days before we all break up, really.
So good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vinny. We'll go to Simon at Premier League Productions.
Hi again. Can I just ask you, fitness... try that again, sorry. fitness-wise, at least with Idrissa, might he? I know you said he was on the grass. He might.
Yeah, he's back on the grass. He's been on the grass. I would say there's probably a 50-50 chance that he could be involved. We'll know a bit more once we've trained and see him over the next couple of days. He's not trained with the team at the moment, so that would be where we're at with him.
And just in terms of Jarrad and Jack, in terms of their rehab and everything that goes with it, will you still play a part of Jack's, and is Jarrad essentially in for the summer to get him back?
Yeah, Jarrad's making good progress, which you would expect, and moving on. So they've all got programmes, or Jarrad's got a programme certainly through the summer. We've looked after Jack really all the time since his injury, and Jack's injury's coming on. He's had quite a bad break in his foot, which has been pinned, and it's looking in good order now. The surgeon's speaking very well about it, thinks it's healing greatly. Normally a player would go back to their parent club and be looked after from there, but no, we'll continue doing our best for Jack.
Just in terms of the game this weekend, obviously an awful lot riding on it, your game and the one for West Ham as well. Is this going to be an opportunity? You know, sometimes you might have a look at the youngsters in the last game this season. Is it too big a pressure game for that to happen, or is there a chance that it could be?
Yeah, and also I think that we've got something we're still trying to play for. You know, whether it only be a top half finish or whether it be, you know, something else could fall into place. You never know. So no, we've got to go there and win it at Tottenham. I don't see it any other way. I'm not turning up with a team of kids and trialling all the players to give them the opportunity to see what they can do. They've had that opportunity during the season to show me if I think they're ready to play or not. So we're certainly going to Tottenham with a focus to try and get a result.
And I know you've touched upon it, but you've already got more points than you had last season. Is that's obviously progression as sorts, but will the final placing have more of an impact than the points, or how do you look at that? Yeah, it is progression.
Yeah. By the way, there's no doubt that there's been progression in what we've done, and we've as I say, kept ourselves away from really any problems. But I think we've got into the sort of the tickly bit at the end, and we've not been able to deal with the tickly bit at the end because we've not finished off well enough. Now, as I say, could be a bit of misfortune not getting a penalty at West Ham. You know, the one against Manchester City. You know, I could go back and back, but it's more to do with us. You know, we've conceded a late goal in some games, which have really taken the edge off us. But also we've missed a few chances as well. So we can only blame ourselves. We're not looking at anybody else. But I want us to finish as high as we can so that we've got something to try and look to improve on for next year as well.
Just finally, for me then, as far as your summer is concerned, will you be in here a lot, do you think, over the summer? Will you get the chance to get a break? Are you World Cup in here?
I hope to be watching the World Cup, watching a lot of games in the World Cup when I can, but I want a break as well. I think when you've been doing it all season, I think any of the Premier League managers will tell you, you know, you really want to shut down. But we need a big summer. Again, as a football club, we need to have a big summer where we think we can build on it, because we're showing that, you know, it doesn't take much, just needs a couple of your better players to lose a little bit of form, and, you know, it can quickly change your results and how you do.
Like Simon, we'll go to Julia at Radio Merseyside.
Hi, David.
Hi, Julia.
Just on that last run that you've mentioned, and if you're saying, you know, sometimes decisions don't go your way and it can be a blow, do you think then this sort of drop off at the end of the season has been a mental side of it? Has it been a physical side of it? Because statistically, your players have played a lot more. There's been fewer subs, and people like James Garner, I think, have been running more than anyone else. Well, is it mental or physical then?
Well, we've not played 50 or 60 games like the players who are playing in, like Aston Villa players or like the others. So if you're asking me, that doesn't stack up one bit at all. I don't see where even that can be part of it. You know, players are playing 60, 70 games and whatnot and getting on with it. So for us to have 38 games, 40 games maybe, I can't see that at all.
When you say there's a cloud hanging over you a little bit, because you've thought about those results, have you been surprised at some of the reaction from some of the courts? Because after the Sunderland game, the stadium cleared out pretty quickly, didn't it?
Yeah, well, I'm just telling you how I feel. You know, I'm telling you that because I've I'm really disappointed I've not been able to get us closer and even onto the last day really with a realistic chance. Even if we'd got a result last week, which, let's be fair, they had 0.7 XG, we had 0.8 XG, so let's be fair, there wasn't a 3-1 defeat in the game, that's for sure. And but we did, and that's the way we've sort of been recently. So lots of reasons for us to be really happy with how we've gone and what we've done this season. But I think just the last month or so has just made me feel not as good as what I felt for the majority of the season.
Recruitment wise in the summer, will you be looking for Premier League experience if you bring someone in? Is it youth? Is it experience? Is it senior players you're looking for?
A bit of both. We've got a few different options and few plans in place. Finances will obviously play a big part in it, no doubt about that. So we'll need to sort of navigate round the best we can. And
as new, Dibling, Harrison Armstrong, I know he was on loan as well. They've probably not had the minutes that they would have wanted. In the summer, will you make a decision on them? Could they go on a season loan, for example?
At the moment not, because our squad won't be big enough. So we couldn't do that at the moment. So we'd have to decide and see if we think there's any need to. But they're young, improving players. I think we saw that with Harrison, the benefit of him being in loan at Preston. He wouldn't have got the same minutes if he'd been here. So I think from that point of view, you've got to try and judge it at the right moment when you can put the players out on loan when you need them. We certainly needed Harrison back because we didn't have the players. We didn't sign any players in January. We only brought in Tyrique George on loan. So we needed to get him back. And unfortunately, he played maybe 5 or 6 games after that, but not many more after that, because he's up against good competition as James Garner, who we've talked about, and the likes of Kieran Dewsbury Hall as well. So Idrissa Gueye. So it was always going to be difficult for him to break into those players.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thanks, Julia. We'll go to Carl at the Press Association.
Hi, David.
Hi, Carl.
Just to go back on Jack. I mean, it seems like he's been unavailable for forever now. I just wonder if you can assess what influence he had for you when he was obviously fit and playing, and how much an effect that maybe had in the second half of the season.
I think he helped us greatly at the start. That's for sure. I think there was a few questions that maybe just before that he wasn't maybe as in good a form as what. Sometimes when you're injured, you always become a better player than you do when you're actually playing the games. But he's had a big influence, and he helped us greatly get through the introduction to the new stadium. I think he gave the supporters something to really get behind as well. He's incredibly well liked inside the building, outside the building. But ultimately, he's not our player, he's Man City's player. So we've had him on loan for a year, and I think we have to say we've really enjoyed him.
He's obviously built good relationships with everyone and yourself and stuff. So does it just come down to the financials in the end about whether you want to get him back?
As I said, we're not made any worse. No, he's on loan. Him and Tyler will both go back to their clubs. Obviously, that's the way it works at the end of the season. And we'll see what the summer sort of brings.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Carl. Any further questions in the open section before we move on? No? Okay.